We had been reading about it for a few weeks. It was relentless, constant, and overwhelming. As a matter of fact, sometimes it seemed like it was the only news there was. Case in point, Kenny Rogers passed away and it was lost in the headlines. So much for knowing when to fold them. Back then, it was still called novel coronavirus. I don't remember why they changed the name. There was a committee formed and they came up with COVID-19, which sounds like door lubricant. Every Wednesday for years, the gang would gather at Tim Hortons for coffee and a muffin. But not much 25th, no coffee and a muffin. The lockdown had been enacted the day before. Bars, theaters, gyms, libraries, restaurants. I suppose I should introduce the ladies. Margie, Monica, Marie, and Dale. I'm Margie. I am north of 55, never married, a dog owner, and retired teacher. There's Monica, Monica Singleton, married, 2 kids, 4 grandkids, and a husband named Norman. She's 1 year my senior. I love to remind her of that whenever I get the chance. There's Marie Partridge, the young pup in our group. She loves to be married, so much so that she has 4 ex-husbands. To be fair, one of the marriages was annulled. Turns out hubby number 1 just wasn't into Marie or any other woman. They're still good friends. Nowadays, she prefers just to get engaged. Her latest catch and release victim was Tony. Their attempts to get married were kiboshed by their venue shutting down, which is really what this is all about. Not Marie's canceled wedding, but COVID-19. And then there's Dale Woodsmith. She's not just north of 55, she's in the high Arctic. She's a widow and swears she will never be married again. She's faithful to Barry. Barry has been playing the harp since 2010. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. After our Wednesday morning coffee was canceled, we sort of went silent for a couple of weeks. And then one of us, okay, it was me, suggested we have coffee online. I'd heard about Zoom. I had no idea what Zoom was, but it was popping up on Facebook like dandelions on a spring lawn. So I told the ladies we were going to Zoom each other. Dale thought I was being vulgar. I got a quick tutorial from my sister's kid, Morgan. Our first online coffee was a train wreck.
You have to unmute your microphone, Mrs. Singleton. I don't read lips. You have to move your cursor down to the bottom left-hand corner of your screen.
Tell her where the cursor is, Morgan.
The mouse arrow. Wiggle your mouse around until you see the arrow, then glide it down to the bottom left-hand corner.
Her left or our left?
Aunt Margie, please, just let me help her.
My coffee is getting cold.
Mrs. Singleton, because you are muted, you don't really need to talk. None of us can hear you. You need to find the mute button. It looks like a microphone with a slash through it.
It looks like a honeycomb in a dessert bowl with a Ghostbusters line through it.
Please, Aunt Margie.
What about Dale?
One miracle at a time, please.
Nod your head up and down. Do you hear me? Can you see the microphone in the bottom left-hand corner?
Maybe have her use the chat feature.
This is not a good time for multitasking, Aunt Margie. It took her 15 minutes just to find the camera. She's not exactly tech savvy.
She heard that.
Sorry, Mrs. Singleton. You're doing great.
Click on the honeycomb in the dessert bowl.
Taking you behind the shed with a willow branch. Well, this is all new to me. And what kind of asinine name is Chrome anyway? When I was your age, Chrome was something you found on cars. So were windows.
We can hear you, Mrs. Singleton.
You can?
Loud and clear.
Mhm.
I clicked the mouse on the thing that looks like a Tic Tac inside a small vase.
That's the microphone.
That wasn't so hard, was it, Monica?
You expect me to remember how to do this every week?
Well, Morgan sent you an email with all the instructions.
Don't even mention email. It was invented by a satanic cult.
And a link to the video on Vimeo.
It's not even a real word. Vimeo, the Instagranny, Oogle. What language are we speaking?
If you're having trouble next week, Aunt Margie is becoming a real expert.
What about Dale?
What's wrong with Dale?
She's late as usual.
Well, no, she's not. She was here earlier. We could hear her, but we couldn't see her, and her voice was all garbled.
Hmm.
She sounded like Drake being auto-tuned by a cow. You know? No posable thumbs? Wrong crowd. Her computer is old. It still takes floppy disks. We updated her operating system, but we're not sure she even has a camera.
She said she did.
Aunt Margie, she called it a Polaroid. She said she was going to try and sign on again.
Well, why don't you call her and see how she's doing? We'll start our coffee time.
Okay.
I know this isn't perfect, but it is good to see both of you. How have you been?
I need to warm up my coffee. It's cold.
I hate this, Margie. Norman said this could carry on until the May long weekend.
I don't think anyone knows yet, Monica.
Mayor Bailey says we're trying to flatten the curve. I don't know what that means. I heard there are dozens of cases across Canada now. We're people of a certain age. Is this going to kill us?
No, we're going to keep isolated as much as we can. At least you have Norman there. Some of us live alone.
It's been 2 weeks and Norman's already stir crazy. Every day he has a new favorite website with all these scary conspiracy theories. Can I tell you a secret?
It's not about your sex life, is it?
No. Although remind me to tell you something later.
Oh, why did I ask?
Norman bought 200 rolls of toilet paper. We've squeezed all the Charmin into the garage. Are we all going to get dysentery?
I don't think so.
And I've heard there's lots of shortages of things like hand sanitizer and masks and yeast.
People are worried, Monica. By the way, can I get some of that toilet paper? I've resorted to separating the plies.
Of course. But how am I supposed to get it to you?
What are we talking about?
Yeast, dysentery, and Monica's sex life.
Really? I'd like to connect the dots on those topics.
I need to tell you about Norman's latest conjugal request.
Not really necessary.
Norman bought a book online. It's called the Kama Sutra. At first, I thought it was a book about yoga positions. But the illustration on page 57 is not downward facing dog.
Oh, I think I know the one that you mean. It's called the Sphinx.
You know, some of us are single and really don't need to hear this.
Well, you just need to get out there, Margie.
Well, that's the point. We can't get out there.
Norman goes to the grocery store. Every time he comes home, I imagine coronavirus crawling all over him. I don't want to try the Sphinx.
I know. You know, yesterday I was in line to get into the Rexall drugstore. It mingled with the line to get into CIBC.
Mm.
It was bedlam. There were two guys who were yelling at each other, saying they weren't 6 feet apart. You know, for a minute there, I thought we were going to break into the Jets and the Sharks from West Side Stories.
Oh, speaking of Tony, you all remember Tony, don't you?
Yes. Up until 3 days ago, he was your fiance.
Well, he's asking us if he can drop by for special visits. Monica, look up something called The Broken Flute in that book.
No.
Well, it takes a little bit of practice, but...
He's not allowed to visit you. You don't live together.
Well, I know that. But he lives alone and I live alone, so wouldn't it be safe?
You're considering it?
Certain regions of my anatomy are considering it.
Well, you need to keep those regions in lockdown.
Well, I still don't know why you broke up with him. Just because your wedding facility closed?
He wasn't the man for me.
Well, you know, you're working your way through the entire phone book. You're bound to find Mr. Right eventually.
I am coming back to my chair.
You didn't hear what we were talking about, did you?
Sadly, most of it. Dale's gonna try and sign on again.
What was she doing wrong?
Let's not get into really long lists. I'll wait until she signs on and then I'll leave you to your conversation.
We don't always talk like this.
I require no further information.
We talk about all sorts of things. You know, politics, religion, social justice.
And a lot of sex.
Please, I don't own a home defibrillator.
Marie, leave the poor girl alone.
I'm not exactly a girl.
Well, for her, anyone who doesn't have arthritis is a girl.
I think Dale is signing in.
Can you hear me?
You don't have to yell, Dale. We can hear you.
Looks like Hollywood Squares.
Still yelling, Dale.
Mrs. Smith, do you remember what I said about the camera?
Who's that?
It's Morgan. I'm Margie's niece. We just hung up the phone a minute ago.
Oh, I wrote down something about the camera.
Still yelling.
Wish me luck. I'm clicking.
Oh,
Can you see me?
very much so.
You're too close to the camera.
We can see your cataracts, darling. Move away from the camera.
How about now?
Not sideways.
I'm going to excuse myself now. Good luck and try not to break the internet.
Dale, when we said move away, we meant back up, not move to your right.
How's that?
Well, now we have your ear, so to speak.
Other ear.
Why don't we call it a success and finish our visit?
So did I miss anything?
The other half of your face.
Not much.
Oh, Monica is enjoying the Kama Sutra.
Marie?
Sutra. I think I had that once at Cobblestone Public House.
Whoa, well, I'm going to have to eat there when they open again.
Oh, you use coconut milk.
Oh, well, whatever turns your crank, Dale.
It's a book, Dale. Norman bought a book about sex positions.
There's more than one?
Let's change the subject. How are you feeling, Dale?
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Despite the hiccups, the first coffee meeting was less painful than expected. We still had to have Morgan help us with the second meeting and the third. But by the fourth meeting in late April, we were used to Zoom. Mostly.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Dale, all we can see is the top of your head.
Well, should I sit in a taller chair?
No, just adjust your camera.
Norman said it came from people eating bats.
I'm trying to remember where the camera is.
Then he said foreign operatives released the virus from some laboratory on purpose.
There's a lot of misinformation out there, Monica.
There were nearly 1,800 new cases in Canada in one day. This is terrifying.
That's why we have to be diligent. Wash our hands and wear masks.
Trump said we don't need masks.
He has also indicated you don't need to listen to science or put your brain in gear in order to be president.
Oh, please. Let's not get into politics. That's all we talked about last week.
They keep talking about a second wave.
Ladies, I need to make a decision about Tony.
What decision?
Norman yesterday was wiping down all the groceries with bleach. A box of shreddies, a head of broccoli, a bottle of Dr. Pepper. I think he bought a hazmat suit on Amazon.
Just make sure you wash your bats with bleach. But in the meantime, I was driving downtown and I saw him walking past the Bohemian Gallery. So I rolled down my window and we chatted. Do you think I made a mistake breaking up with him?
You said he wasn't Mr. Right.
Sometimes I don't trust my filtering system.
Is that any better?
Lovely decor, Dale, but we can't see your face.
And there are huge lineups everywhere. I don't even know what 2 meters is. Am I supposed to walk around carrying a measuring tape?
You know, you and Norman seem to go out for supplies nearly every day. You're supposed to limit your trips to the essentials.
Everything's an essential to Norman. He bought a 20-pound bag of beans. What am I supposed to do with a 20-pound bag of beans?
Keep the toilet paper handy.
He's just trying to take care of us, I know, but 20 pounds of beans?
Not to change the subject, but I am changing the subject. I made a list of pros and cons. Can I run them by you, ladies?
Only if we can add our own list.
What's that supposed to mean?
I haven't seen the grandkids in nearly 2 months. It is excruciating.
Yeah, hold the diapers there, Monica. What are you saying, Dale?
Well, you have a list of pros and cons concerning Russell.
It's Tony.
Russell was the 2018 model.
Well, we should be able to add to your pros and cons.
Add to it?
Yeah, your fear of commitment, your track record after the altar, your fickleness, your dread of sticking with it.
That's the same thing as fear of commitment.
Well, that's quite the list. Seems to be filled with all cons.
Well, you have pros.
Huh, I would like to hear one.
You have a lovely smile.
Oh, well, that makes up for all the cons.
Speaking of cons, Norman got an email from Jim Baker. He's trying to sell us a bottle of silver solution as the cure for COVID.
Monica, you have to keep Norman away from the computer. Can't you find him a hobby?
Give him back his Kama Sutra book.
Oh, and that's another thing, Marie. Are you considering Tony simply because of his anatomy?
Well, I was trying to give you all a list of pros and cons. It wasn't the only thing under pros.
I bet it was at the top of the list.
It's perfectly normal. Hey, Dale, how often were you and Barry, before he passed away?
Well, that's not a very inappropriate question.
We made a pact that no questions were out of bounds.
Well, I'm not very comfortable talking about it.
Well, give us a number. How often?
Oh, once or twice.
Is that a weekly, monthly, or annual number?
Oh, it was never about the volume.
Oddly enough, volume was one of the things on my list for Tony. He can be very loud.
I'd like to hear the rest of the con list.
Who said that was a con?
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Well, what did her sister say?
She's being tested. She was feeling tired all the time and had a dry cough, and then her temperature jumped.
Ooh.
Somebody tell me this isn't happening. She can't have it.
We don't know yet, Monica.
She's hardly been around anyone. Her brother-in-law would drop off groceries, but that's it.
Well, according to her sister, Dale went for a walk and a couple passed her. They weren't 6 feet away.
But surely that can't be what caused it.
Well, we'll know in a few days.
I don't even think the experts know how it spreads. And Dale is so meticulous. She washed her hands like a heart surgeon, even before COVID hit. Always so cautious.
Shouldn't we try to call her?
She's too weak.
I was hoping that this was all just blown out of proportion, that all of this madness was just us overreacting. A mountain of precaution for a molehill of a virus.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Well-groomed, good sense of humor, patient, an excellent listener, very, very capable, if you know what I mean.
If you don't want him, I'll take him.
He's mine. Maybe. Anyway, there's plenty of fish out there.
You threw him back into the river.
But he wants to jump back onto my pole. Oh, I did not word that very well.
So what are you waiting for?
Sorry, just had to warm up my coffee.
Oh, what?
All right, so continue with the update on Dale.
Well, as I was saying, it wasn't the virus, but she still had influenza. She is resting comfortably and her sister is with her. Her temperature's good again. She'll be back having coffee with us in a week or two. Early June by the latest.
Time out, everyone. Time out. Look, I'm as pleased as Punch about Dale. But let's talk about the elephant in the room.
What?
Why are you dressed like Pope Francis?
Oh, this is my choir outfit. I helped organize an online choir practice for later tonight.
You organized an online choir practice?
I am a Zoomer. Set up the meeting, sent out the invitations.
But why are you wearing the vestments?
It's a choir robe.
Is this a show or a practice?
It's a practice. But we find that putting on the robes helps get us in the right frame of mind.
30 women wearing robes. Can I watch?
Watch or mock?
Mock, mostly, I guess.
No, but we'll dedicate a song to you. Now, back to Dale.
Oh, well, it was still scary, but she's much better. As you can imagine, she was sure that she had COVID and preparing for the worst news.
I think I was too. We should do something for her.
What do you mean?
How about this?
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
On behalf of the Baby Zoomers generation, we welcome you back to Wednesday Coffee. Where's the rest of the band?
Dale, do you really need to hear this?
Yes, please.
Oh, God. How's that?
You may need to wipe off your screen there, Louis Armstrong.
That's how the virus spreads, ladies.
Oh, but honey, you can't spray spittle across Zoom.
You can't be too safe.
It's all right, Dale. You wear your mask. It brings out your eyes. We're just happy to have you back for coffee.
I have organized party games.
Hold steady there, Monica. I'd like to pin the tail on the donkey on my screen.
Oh, very funny. I have written down a couple of questions regarding this crazy pandemic.
The cream in my coffee just curdled.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're being sour.
Bravo, Dale.
Fine, fine. Fire away with the questions.
All right. What do you miss the most, Dale?
Barry's graveside. It's been closed. I need to tell him I'm not ready to come visit him yet. He probably thinks I'm late as usual.
I miss live music and theater. I miss sitting around the piano bar at the old schoolhouse, taking in a play at Paris Fairgrounds, a live band at Lions Park.
I miss the familiar things. Overlooking the Grand River from the bridge. Overlooking the city from King Edward Street. Browsing for treasure at Green Heron Books.
Does he carry the Kama Sutra Part 2?
Not likely.
What about you, Marie? What do you miss?
Tony.
Truthfully, you people in the flesh, the laughs, the ribbing, the hugs. I haven't had a hug in way too long.
I miss the grandkids.
Walking downtown.
A better cup of coffee.
Dale, where is your coffee cup sitting?
Well, it's on the coffee cup holder that comes with the computer.
That's for playing CDs.
I don't own any CDs.
Okay. Second question. How will you live your life differently after COVID? Dale?
Let somebody else go first.
I will. I'm going to try to live my life exactly the same, but with one big change. I am going to stop and smell the roses, count my blessings, and take nothing for granted. No longer look a gift horse in the mouth. You can stop me anytime.
I like that.
Gratitude. I don't want to waste time not living my life. I'm still going to bowl, I'm still going to dance, and I'm still going to ride the Ferris wheel. But I am going to do it with relish.
When this is over, I think, no, wait, I know Norman and I are going to travel. Enough with the planning. I don't care if it's a trip to Dairy Delight or Jasper National Park. We're going to get in that car of ours and spend our kids' inheritance. I'm going to learn how to take pictures with my cell phone and put them up on Facebook. We're going to eat healthy 6 days a week and submit our stomachs to risky cuisine on the 7th. We're going to book a trip to his homeland in Scotland. Norman's a good man, ladies. I know he went a little wacky with all this, but he's a good man. He doesn't ask for much, but he wants to see Scotland. So we're going to do it.
I thought you were terrified of airplanes.
We'll swim, but we're going to do it. Well, what are you going to do differently when this is over, Marie?
I'm going to stop looking for Mr. Right. No more shopping.
You mean you've landed on Tony?
I have no idea. Maybe. But I think my perusing days are over. I think I will call up Tony and I'll see where it goes. No more keeping one foot out the door. No more restlessness. I'm going to take it very slow, but I am going all in.
Oh, that makes me happy, Marie. I was married for 30 years to Barry. It wasn't enough. Oh, I hope you find that too.
That's probably the nicest thing that you have ever said to me.
It was an accident. I'll try not to do it again.
What are you going to do when this is over, Dale?
Was everybody else taking their turn?
Yes.
Well, you're going to laugh.
Oh, I hope so.
Marie.
Oh, it's okay. It is odd. I'm going to visit Barry's graveside.
You said that already.
Well, I'm old. I can't remember what I said. Well, anyway, this is part 2.
All right.
I'm going to visit Barry's graveside and tell him I am not going to visit him in the great hereafter for a while. I'm also going to tell him that I'm going to start living again. I loved that man so much. I have missed him every day for 10 years. But it's time to start a new chapter. He will always be a part of me. But he would not be happy that I have made him the reason to stop living.
You said I was going to laugh. I feel more like crying, you idiot.
Well, there's very little difference between laughing and crying sometimes.
You win the prize for best answer, Dale.
What about Scotland?
Okay, maybe I was thinking about how lame Ferris wheel sounded.
It's not lame, Margie, because we're all going to live our lives with more relish.
Okay, one last question.
You have a question?
You're not going to ask what our favorite position in the Kama Sutra is, are you?
Oh,
No. But if I did, it would be the lotus bloom. However, my question is this. You can have dinner with any living person in the world. No relatives and nobody in this group, because you'd all pick me. Someone you've never met. Monica, you go first.
Like somebody famous?
Well, they don't have to be famous, just interesting.
Oh boy. I don't know.
Me neither.
Don't we get a chance to think about it?
Come on, my coffee's getting cold.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
The long, hot, sticky days of summer have arrived, and COVID-19 is still with us. We still have restrictions. The numbers are beginning to flatten. There's a plethora of opinions on the virus. Doubters, conspiracy theorists, but mostly people who are worried and tired, tested by isolation, longing for the wonderful fellowship of friends. Sometimes I think I see light at the end of the tunnel. Other times, I think it's wishful thinking. One thing is for certain, though. Well, 4 things. Marie is dating Tony. Online. I dare not ask what that means. Dale was able to visit Barry. She told him that she will love him forever. and she's starting her second chapter. They'll both sit around someday and read it together. Monica has downloaded maps and points of interest in Scotland. Apparently, there are over 31,000 lochs in Scotland. They will be on a plane someday. She will need sedation. And while I haven't had the chance to bowl or dance or ride the Ferris wheel, I'm still loving my life every day. Stopping to smell the gift horse blessings along the road. By the way, the person I'd like to have dinner with is...
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.